Back when I was 19, I lived with my older brother in a small rental house outside of town. The place was old, with creaky wooden floors and thin walls that made every little sound feel louder at night. My brother worked security shifts at a warehouse, so most nights, I stayed alone until sunrise. At first, I enjoyed it. I'd stay up gaming, watch movies, or sit outside smoking while listening to the wind move through the trees behind the house. But one night changed all of that. It was sometime in November, cold enough that the windows fogged up from the inside. I remember checking my phone and seeing it was exactly 2:13 a.m. when I first heard the knocking. 3 slow knocks. Not loud, not aggressive, just deliberate. I muted the TV and listened carefully. Knock, knock, knock. The sound came from the front door. At first, I thought maybe my brother forgot his keys, but he always called first. Plus, he wasn't supposed to get off work until 4. I walked toward the door and looked through the peephole. Nobody. The porch light illuminated the empty front steps. Beyond that was darkness and the road leading into the woods. I stood there for another few seconds before stepping away. Then came another knock, this time from the side window beside the living room. I froze. The curtains were closed, but I could hear fingernails lightly tapping the glass. Tap, tap, tap. Every hair on my arm stood up. I slowly backed away and grabbed the kitchen knife off the counter. I remember feeling stupid for being scared. I kept trying to convince myself it was probably teenagers messing around. Then a voice spoke outside the window. "Can you help me?" It was a woman. Soft, weak sounding. "I think I'm hurt." I stood there silently. Something about the voice didn't feel right. There was no panic in it. No emotion at all. Just flat, like someone pretending to sound injured. I finally forced myself to speak. "Who are you?" No answer. Then the tapping started again. Tap, tap, tap. I looked toward the hallway leading to the bedrooms, trying to decide whether to call the police. That's when the voice changed. Now it sounded annoyed. "I know you're in there." I immediately stepped backward. The woman began laughing quietly outside the window. Not normal laughter either. It sounded breathless and wrong. I called 911 while locking myself in my bedroom. The dispatcher stayed on the line while officers headed over. Then came the worst part. Footsteps. Slow footsteps crunching around the gravel outside the house. The person outside began trying every window one by one. I could hear them moving around the entire house, checking for an unlocked way in. The dispatcher told me officers were close, but it felt like forever. Then suddenly, everything went quiet. No footsteps, no tapping, nothing. A minute later, police arrived. They searched the property, but found no one. What they did find, though, made my stomach drop. Behind the house near the tree line were muddy footprints. Not one set, 3 different sets. The officers believed multiple people had been surrounding the house the entire time. And according to one officer, criminals in the area had been using women's voices late at night to trick people into opening doors. I barely slept after that. But the creepiest part happened 2 weeks later. My brother and I were watching TV around midnight when 3 slow knocks echoed against the front door. We both looked at each other instantly. Neither of us moved. Then from outside, a woman's voice quietly said, "Can you help me?" We called the police immediately. But by the time they arrived, whoever was outside had disappeared again.